So welcome back to the channel, all my viewers and anti-corruption warriors, justice seekers. So we're going to have a look at a 1994 documentary highlighting the dons of Jamaica's notorious inner city and their influence on the US drug trade and UK. I think over there in the United Kingdom they also had problems with these yardies gangs. But we know that they were funded by politicians. So again, at root of every problem in Jamaica are politicians. We enjoy doing this. We're seeking justice for all Jamaicans. Right? Let's go.
Miami, Florida, August 1992. A massacre at a crowded restaurant leaves 4 dead, 18 wounded. The gunmen are Jamaican gangsters.
Since 1986, we estimate over 4,500 deaths attributed to Jamaican violent crimes.
London, November 1993. The funeral of community policeman Patrick Dunn, shot dead in Clapham by Yardie drug dealers.
Their recourse to violence is much quicker than any other group, certainly that I've known. And the overtness of it is quite staggering.
Kingston, Jamaica, the home of the Yardies. Assignment examines why the ghettos of Kingston have produced international drug dealers feared by the police on both sides of the Atlantic.
And the thing they like to do is shower their victims with bullets.
Maypen Cemetery in Kingston, the capital of Jamaica. Here lie the gunmen, the hustlers, the drug dealers, the exploiters and the exploited. Many of those buried here never made it to the age of 35. Even the biggest of all are brought down to earth. And no one was more powerful than Jim Brown, the original Yardie. He was overlord of a community which became the crucible for a new breed of drug dealers. Under his control in the 1980s, the Yardie was born. This is the close-knit world of Tivoli Gardens in West Kingston. Drug dealers from Tivoli are found in London, New York or Miami, but they never sever their links with home, which they call their yard. Tivoli was Jim Brown's yard. Here he was revered.
Jim Brown was a community leader in our area. He was loved by everybody, old, middle-aged, young, everybody.
Jim Brown bankrolled Tivoli. Much of his wealth came from dealing in the United States. His gang, the Shower Posse, led the Jamaican assault on the US drugs market. Some of his riches came back to Tivoli and helped fund community projects.
Old people, they would come and hug him, kiss him. I know people love him off real because the person he is. Because the person he is. Always trying to help someone, say something to them. Word of encouragement, saying to the kids, talking to the kids, telling them that they must try to achieve a better tomorrow. Because, you know, they have to go to school and things. He's a principle person. He believes in a lot of principle.
Jim Brown came to Miami in 1984 to see what was going on with his Shower Posse and their drug dealing activities. And while he was here, in November that year, he walked into a house and executed 5 people. He walked around each one of them and shot in the head with a .45. Jim Brown is a bad, bad man.
When he was arrested at the request of the Americans, he faced charges of drug trafficking, extortion. From prison, he fought a legal battle against extradition. He lost the fight, but he never stood trial in an American court. It was said that too many powerful people would have been implicated if he had. Jim Brown was burned in his cell. Officially accident, more likely murder.
So this Jim Brown saga shows how gullible the Jamaican public are. You know, he was the right-hand man of Edward Seaga. He was very close to Edward Seaga. It's no secret. At the time, the Americans wanted him. They was trying to extradite him to America, as the reporter said. He was locked up in jail in Jamaica, awaiting his time. Suddenly, he was burned in prison in Jamaica, right? Most people believe that it was done by Edward Seaga. He got the job done to protect himself or his people. The Jamaican public did not turn against Edward Seaga, or I should say, the people from Tivoli Garden did not turn against Edward Seaga, even though Jim Brown, the guy from their community that they look up to, was taken out to protect Edward Seaga. They just show how corrupted politics is in Jamaica. People there that didn't want him to go to America because they were afraid of what would have been said by him. So they make sure they take him out before he got there. Anyway, carry on.
Edward Seaga, the former Jamaican Prime Minister and Jim Brown's patron, led a funeral procession of 35,000 people. Tivoli is Seaga's constituency, and Jim Brown had brought in the votes. His gang had established the Yardie connection in the United States and Britain, but in Jamaica he remained a hero.
Look at the man in terms of how the community respects and treats him as a protector of their community. Thank you.
In 1980, Seaga's love affair with the electorate was consummated when he won power for the Jamaica Labour Party, the JLP. The United States government liked his right-wing stance and channeled support through the CIA. The money was used to buy guns, which were distributed to party activists in the ghettos. On the other side of the divide was Michael Manley, leader of the left-wing People's National Party, the PNP. Manley too had his power bases in the ghetto. And the fervour of the support for the two parties created the biggest ideological gulf in Jamaica's history. It was a time when the Cold War was being fought in the Caribbean. Cuban guns and money were behind the PNP. During the 1980 election, Kingston erupted in an orgy of violence. At least 800 people were killed as the parties battled for votes. Many have since become Yardies. Tivoli's world is still polarised. Every aspect of life is touched by political division. And as ever, Edward Seaga is present to express solidarity with the home side. These are his people, body and soul. The manager of the Tivoli team is known universally by his street name, Popcorn. He's an activist for the Jamaica Labour Party.
Anyway, everything all right, I go down the line.
To Tivoli folk, he's a community protector, like Jim Brown. In the 70s, Popcorn was a JLP gun runner.
Sometimes life in the ghetto here, no work, nothing. worth nothing because if a PMP hold a GLP, if him not come and at the same thing, two sides. If me hold a PMP, I mean, what's well, and if him do hold me, I go damage me, I go damage him. Selection will come on and the side out the street start fire. We have to fire back. Because we're not bored, man. You see? So you see, that side they have gun, that side they have gun. We buy a gun them still. I travel with my little gun, you know. And anyway, I go me carry it, man, because me's a labor right, you know. Me's a figure out that to the PMP, so them shoot me. Yeah, my enemy are the PMP them because them don't know what is good. All them know if you do is stay out the street and rob people, shoot innocent people.
A victory for Tivoli, yet another excuse for gunfire. In the ghetto, the legacy of the politician is the M16. Tivoli Gardens was the birthplace of the Yardies, but it's in central Kingston where many of the most active dealers and gunmen are now found. Within the area, there are two distinct ghettos. The PNP stronghold with the unlikely name Tel Aviv, and its neighbour Southside, which is unequivocally JLP. Separating the two is Rosemary Lane, the front line. It's calm now, but at election times there's bloodshed across this line. And within these two enclaves, all authority rests with a series of street corner dons, and their role in the social structure of this city should not be underestimated. I began a journey across the ghetto, starting on the corner controlled by Chubby, a JLP fighter who's been in prison for... Chubby owns a bar, and like all the community dons, is known only by his street name. He's been a leading Southside don for 20 years, even surviving an attack by a PNP assassination squad. Smoking marijuana is ingrained in Jamaican culture, especially amongst Rastafarians. It's illegal, but here the authority of the police carries little weight. The street corner don, supported by political chiefs, is the crucial figure of authority. And to maintain control, he has to enforce an alternative form of justice.
What happens to people that step out of line then?
Sometimes they get beaten.
Badly?
Yeah, badly, and even the police don't like it. Within the community, you can quash certain things before it reaches law. But you know, when you reach law, you can get a sentence. Might be a man might reach few licks, and that can let him behave himself. He might don't do that thing for the rest of his life.
Chubby's domain is a bleak one. The politics of partisanship has left an indelible mark here. Communities where the gunmen flourish are known in Kingston as garrison towns.
Who are the people here?
They're my brethren, you know? I'm my brethren them, yeah.
They're your brethren?
Yeah.
And this is your headquarters?
My corner, yeah, my headquarters.
Southside has few services. This street has been polluted by raw sewage for months.
Most of the people in this area are no job?
Yeah, most of them. I've got 75% of the people not working. Who don't have no job, they got to hustle.
Hustling means drugs. Dealing and using are part of the fabric of life. Half of all crack users are teenagers.
How do people afford to buy crack? It's an expensive drug.
Some who do it, them steal all them parents' things. Rob outside and all them things, you know, to support their hobby. And then you have some crack people who smoke crack in this whole building over this side here, so.
Crack is a uniquely addictive drug. The user will do anything for the next hit. The evidence of crack use is everywhere, but the profit margins for the drug dealers here are too small. The ambitious seek their fortune abroad, in Britain or the United States. Bordering Chubby's territory is Renker's Corner. The Renker's leader was Delroy Edwards, known as Uzi because of his use of the machine gun of that name. The Renker's gang still control this corner, even though their leader is serving 6 life sentences for murder in a US jail. Members of the Renker's formed a vicious Yardie gang that grew rich on crack trafficking in Brooklyn and London. Uzi was known for his brutality, but to those left behind, he was a benefactor.
Send things, and when them even come in, send carry down clothes, support, send things. They make us all live good down here then. Everything's set for us. Send us sneakers and support. Keep a treat for the little kids. Give a little package to the old people and make everybody feel comfortable.
Amongst those who remain in Southside, life offers few prizes. And the attraction of going foreign, as they put it, become overwhelming. These streets are full of people who've gone to Britain or the US and been deported for drug trafficking. People like Floyd Hurd, a Yardie who was forcibly returned to Jamaica after serving a long jail term in Ohio for crack dealing.
Money started coming in, and it was so much that I stopped working, started doing drugs. What happened is I became one of my best customers. Instead of selling, I started using more than anything, and then being messed up in the mind. Come backward. Eventually one day I got busted in the house. I ran out, jumped in my car. Police started shooting at us. I tried to get. I failed. The police was up on us so fast, I didn't even know what happened. I got shot 3 times, trying to get away from the cops, threw away a .38 slug revolver. When I got 10 years in the penitentiary. I know this stuff destroys people, but the money, this greed for that cash. Today I learned better. I'm 37 years old today. I wish I'd go back to 17 where I could make that same decision again in life.
With crack, there are few winners and many losers. And despite so many friends either dead or in jail, the Renkers still find it impossible to resist the temptations of the American cocaine trail.
Who don't really want to go to the States? And me myself want to go to the States right now. As you come say, you having a job, just sitting down.
From Southside, I crossed the front line and stopped at the corner controlled by Broomy, a gunman for the People's National Party. In last year's election, he was almost killed by a JLP fighter. But surviving a bullet in the gut has merely enhanced his reputation. Broomy will spill blood for the politicians because of the help they give in return.
So if a man have a little business and them want a little finance to deal it, they must give them a helping hand still. Give them a money or get some goods to them or so anything where them can get. It depends on how where you want. If them have a place where them can get the items, then them get it and give. If them can't, them give you money and you would buy it and try to set up your little business and try to turn it over.
And what do they expect back in return?
Well, in return, you know, what they expect if you just know, so we there, so know, say, we not going to change for them. I mean, say, at all time, them can rely upon we when election come on and know, say, we there to support them.
Yeah. Many of Broomy's followers will take up weapons at election times. Amongst his crew are Yardie dealers like Thicker, who's chilling out before returning to the crack trade abroad. Thicker was earning £1,000 a day in Bristol before getting caught in a drug war. He says Yardies succeed because they're so single-minded.
Their willpower, it's their drive to go. You know what I'm saying? They love it. And because they love it, they'll do it full time. The English guys, like most Afro-Caribbean guys, they do it, but they've got other things to do, like, you know, drive around, you know, they love driving, you know, clubbing and things like that, you know what I'm saying? A lot of Jamaicans don't really go nowhere. They don't know where. They come from Jamaica and they go to Bristol. That's where they came to live in St. Paul. They know in and around Bristol, nowhere else. They outnumber, and the British guys on the front line, yeah, and they're more violent. They show more respect to Jamaican because, you know, the first thing you say is gunshot.
I then moved on 100 yards to the territory controlled by Lockie. He's just been bailed on a murder charge. He was accused of killing a JLP opponent, but the politicians who protect the gunman got him off. It probably won't be the last charge Lockie faces.
How old are you?
36.
36? And that's quite old, isn't it? I mean, some people don't survive that long.
Well, with all respect, most of my friends don't live that long. Many of them dead. That's my prospect. To live till me even 100. I watch my grandchildren grow. You understand? But as I'm sure, so most of the time people terminate such plan for you. Vendetta, right?
So it just goes on and on?
No. That's what I tell you, it's a generation thing, it never stop. My son's never come. This side and that side. I don't see me when them born with the tension and say, well, boy, them kill him uncle, them kill him brother. Oh, them boy over there, so well, it never stop.
Under the pressures of life, the social structures here are in flux. 2 children in every 3 don't know who their father is, and for many, the strongest role model on the streets of Tel Aviv is the yardie. For yardies like Michael, the gun is the emblem of authority. His rules are simple: kill or be killed.
If you know a gun come like it's not nothing. If a man have a gun and you have to run, the most weak.
What would happen if the police caught you with the gun?
They might shoot at you, they might run it now. They might shoot up and them all with it. You know, you have to fire back shot on them.
As I left Tel Aviv that evening, I didn't have to go far to understand the role of the police in the ghetto. At the central police station, there was a wake.
Let's broken every barrier down.
Sergeant Norton Stewart has been shot dead by a drugs gang. Policing the ghetto is a perilous job, and casualties are common. The death of a colleague provokes bravado as well as mourning. But the force is handicapped by rampant ill-discipline. The beating of suspects is routine. And every year the police at least 150 people while making arrests. Where evidence is hard to find and witnesses are intimidated, the police answer is shoot first and not bother with the questions. For years, corruption within the force has allowed some police officers to grow rich from drug trafficking. Some of the yardies arrested abroad have turned out to be Jamaican policemen. For the dedicated, the rewards are few. The problems besetting the force have led to the appointment of a new police commissioner, whose task is to root out corruption. In his first 3 months, he's sacked some officers and demoted others. The aim is to persuade the ghetto communities that they should trust the police rather than the street corner dons.
This small minority exists as community protectors, they call themselves. Their finance is a result of narcotics and illegal sale of narcotics. My mission is to try and not only remove them, but by bringing the communities closer to the police, as it has to be, By doing that, one will replace those community protectors by legal, legitimate policemen doing their duties.
But change won't be easy. In the fight against Yardie crime, the police enjoy little trust. When British and American detectives have tried to track down drug dealers who fled to Kingston to evade capture, they say their requests for help from the Jamaican constabulary have been frustrated. The police have failed to penetrate the heartlands of crime. Many blame their impotence on politicians. They protect the community dons who bring them votes. The police are left uncertain and aggressive.
The police are going in, beating up on the guys on the corner, shooting somebody arbitrarily. It's just a way of getting out their frustration and pretending that they are doing police work. Because for so many years, they have not been allowed to do their work properly. And this has bred within the force itself a set of police whom are by and large untouchable themselves. Even their superior officers are afraid to deal with them because of their political backing.
So you see, viewers, it's like a three-headed devil. The politicians, the criminals, and the police. They all needed each other to survive. Well, that's how they make it seems. The politicians needed those gangsters in the streets to help them to get vote. And the gangsters needed the politicians to survive. The police, on the other hand, their job is already hard, but some of them are corrupted. And some of them join allegiance with some of the gangsters. And when the politicians having problems controlling some of the gangsters, they turn to the police. It was always a horrible situation in Jamaica with politicians helping the gangsters to survive. And this documentary exposed a lot of what was happening in those days. And it's still happening to a lesser extent now, but it's still happening. Anyway, this is just part one of the video. And I'll bring you part two. Watch, like, share, subscribe, and return for part two. Until then, I'm out.